you live from the Hellmouth. This is the Popular Cinema Podcast. I'm your co-host Payne,
I'm Bill.
and welcome to episode 42. Good
42, that's
afternoon,
pretty
Bill.
old. Hi,
How are you, my friend?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. It's a beautiful day outside. We're in studio, and I'm ready to rock and roll.
Sweet.
So I figured we would do something different today,
I
unlike
love how you're
other
always
days.
changing things up at the last minute. Yes.
Variety is the spice of life. So I'm thinking that maybe we will try to hit a lot of topics and we will try to do it within 3 minutes. That gives us, it's not going to include the time. I give whatever subject we're going to talk about. You'll get your thoughts. I'll get my thoughts, maybe some sort of rebuttals, but we'll just kind of, whatever it is, we'll discuss it. And if there's some sort of exception where you get really like passionate about it, we can add a few extra minutes to it.
Am I
How do
supposed to
you?
set my Death Star timer?
Do you still have it?
I, yes.
Okay. No, I already have the iPad with the stopwatch ready to rock and roll.
It's back.
I don't want you to be in charge of it because you would cut me off. I want to be in charge of cutting you off.
I see. So really, it's only 3 minutes when you say it's 3 minutes, and other than that, it's longer than 3 minutes, possibly, if you're in the middle of a thought instead of sticking to the time frame.
I have control issues. I feel like I should be controlling it.
I just wanted to point out then that's fine. You have control issues, but this whole 3 minute thing was your idea. So,
Okay. All right.
okay.
I'm also going to call the episode the Blitzkrieg episode, the 3 minute Blitzkrieg.
Okay. I can do it. I don't think you can do it. We'll see.
By the way, Bill, you know what the definition of Blitzkrieg is?
I don't really want to sound stupid on the TV show or the radio internet show, so I'm just gonna plead the fifth.
It's an intense military campaign intended to bring about a swift victory.
That's
So
what I was
that's what
gonna
we're
say. That's
yeah,
exactly what I was
okay.
gonna say.
That's what we're gonna do. That's in honor of the fact that we're launching missiles. I figured we'd make it like a war episode. War.
What's it good
You.
for? Absolutely nothing. Say it again.
Oh, I wish I had some song for that.
I know.
Can you hear my dog barking?
I cannot. Why is he barking?
I'm not sure, but I think Scooties has come up in studio, which leaves Ferguson downstairs, which will only result in him being nervous and
But
dropping
you
presents
knew
on
that.
the
So
floor.
why did you leave him down there when you're getting ready to freaking record?
You know what? He's just one of those children that you just.
You knew that he was going to do that.
I don't know. He's just gonna have to suffer through.
That's nice.
Anyway, by the way, I also found a new website. Well, I'm sure it's existed, but I just found it. It's called numbers.com.
What does that
Do
mean?
you know? Well, that allows us to look into box office receipts for foreign countries.
Oh, is this what we were talking
So,
about the other day?
yeah, so technically,
Okay.
if we want to know exactly how much Denmark is paying to see like Medea's Family Christmas or something, we can go over there and be like, oops, they're not even showing it in Denmark. Or,
Right.
or how much it came out for a certain country or whatever else like that. It gives us a little bit more information internationally.
Knowledge is power.
Okay. So our show, unlike America, is international friendly.
Yes, we are certainly that. If anything, we are that.
You, we do have a UK downloader. Sadly,
Well,
just one.
I mean, that means that makes us international. So right there alone, even if it's only one, that brings us to other shores.
All right, and I'd like to give a shout out, by the way, right before we get into our subjects, our 3 minute blitzkrieg here. I'd like to give a shout out quickly to Superfan Melissa, who's always downloading and giving positive feedback on our podcast, and also to Superfan Nadia. She sent us another email.
I
Um,
know.
are we going to maybe address a little bit of that at the end?
Sure.
Okay. Did you ever see, was it Josh Whedon's that Dr. Horrible sing along?
I did watch it once. Yes.
Well, it sounds like you didn't like it.
I owned the DVD. I just didn't really find it compelling enough to put it in some kind of rotation.
Sadly enough, I've never seen it, Bill.
Well, I guess I'm up on you then. And then I don't understand why you've never seen it. It was kind of a big thing when it came out.
It was, but it get into that whole musical thing. I was able to
Really?
tolerate, the Buffy musical, but I just couldn't really do some sort of side piece.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for upgrading the wave file for us so we can now do. Are you ready? Are you ready for the 3 minute blitzkrieg?
Yes, I am. I am ready. I am so ready.
All right. So, Bill, Ridley Scott came out and said that he had a much more violent end for Ripley in mind. And we know Ripley is part of Aliens. Hopefully, anybody listening to the show knows what the fuck we're talking about, that I don't have to give such background. Anyway, Scott is quoted as saying, I thought the alien should come in and Ripley harpoons it and makes no difference. So it slams her through the mask and rips her head off. He went on to say that the ending of the film would involve the alien covering its tracks by using the ship's control to send a message. Quote, it would mimic Captain Dallas's saying, I'm signing off. Apparently, the only problem that none of the powers of the studio liked the idea. And quote, the first executive from Fox arrived on the set within 14 hours, threatening to fire me on the spot. So we didn't do that ending.
This is from
So,
Alien 1, of course.
yes, Alien 1.
Okay.
Thank you very much. So, Ripley dying at the end. Damn, that would have been gangster or no way Jose.
Well, if that would have happened, there wouldn't have been James Cameron's Aliens featuring the Ripley character. So I'm going with I'm glad they didn't do that.
Yeah. We had this discussion before about like studio. I'm always in the camp where I don't want the studios butting into the
Right.
artist realm. But
Right.
I do have to admit, this would have been a no way Jose for me. It spawned a whole universe of things and possibilities, and sometimes genius needs to have a little extra person on the side, kind of holding it back a little bit, or directing it a little bit more.
I mean, if it was going to be a one and done, they might have been able to get away with that. But I mean, like you said, it spawned an entire franchise, and one of the most popular female characters in the history of action films.
Well,
So I'm glad they didn't do
sometimes you
it.
don't know if these things are going to be one and done. Maybe you have an idea that it's going to be one and done, but if it does really well, I guess you always have to leave it open for that possibility.
Well, in 2017, you do. I don't know if 1978 or whatever year that the original Alien came out that they were so concerned about that, but I think it worked out in the end. I mean, I personally am a fan of all the Alien films, including Alien Resurrection, even though that one's like the bastard stepchild of the series. I even like Alien versus Predator, at least the first one. I draw the line at Alien versus Predator 2, which is incomprehensible gobbledygook to me, but all the rest of them I do enjoy, including Alien 3.
You know what? I'm the same with you. I enjoy them all, and it looks like we may get a few more of these out of here. So, all right.
Did they say
So,
6? Isn't he
what's
gonna
that?
do like 6? Isn't Ripley or
It's,
Ridley Scott
it's like
talking
it's,
about
it's
like
like
doing these into
5.
perpetuity?
Yeah, it's like 5, depending on how well the people respond.
Yeah, he's like 80 something years old. We're not gonna get 5 movies. Okay, maybe 3, and I'll be happy. But
All right. 3 minute blitzkrieg.
let's keep
Bill,
it going.
the It trailer arrived. Are you scared and intrigued, or laughing and bored?
I was laughing and bored. I'm not a fan of the original It. I'm not a fan of the book It. I'm not a fan of Stephen King's It. I'm not a fan of the whole clown scary thing. I think it's silly. I don't. I don't care how scary you try to make a clown. It still looks like a clown that's pissed off instead of something that really scares me. So I'm gonna pass.
Wow.
Wow. Um,
I am scared and intrigued. I seem to scare more easily than you. I saw the trailer, and why I think trying to make the clown, I don't know, scary and menacing, and actually seems to work against it. I probably would go for more subtlety, but I think the trailer, I watched it a few times. It just happens to pique my curiosity. You know,
did you
there's
read the
something
book?
about it that has it's updated in a very creepy modern fashion, and I like it. I
Did
like
you
the
read the book?
trailer.
The original
You
book?
know what? No, but I can tell you that the trailer has sparked my interest in going to get the book to read. But the problem is, I don't know when I'll read it. I probably need to have my girlfriend stay over with me at night because I'm not going to
Really?
be able to. Yeah.
Are
What are
you a
you talking?
man or a mouse? It's
Listen,
a
I
work of
have
fiction.
to.
Okay.
You know, super fan Melissa's husband. Whenever I start talking about this stuff like this, he's just like, it's not real, right? It's not. It's not real. And in my
I
mind, since
mean, I'm a fairy cake, and it doesn't even phase me. You're supposed to be like a big butch make man, and like you're like, oh, I just don't want to watch it because it scares me. Really? I don't know if I'd be telling my girlfriend that.
let's no no
Just
no.
saying.
Don't get me wrong. If I'm with my girlfriend and there is a knock, some sort of knock downstairs, I'll get up and go see it, and I'll take care of business. But if I'm alone, it's fight or flee. Flee seems to kind of be the 60% answer to the question at that point. You know. But if you're with someone, then you probably have to fight. I mean, I just watched the Twin Peaks final episode this morning
Hmm.
with Bob. I was sitting in my kitchen around 1 o'clock this afternoon going, ooh, that's creepy. Oh, I get the chills and I'm kind of looking around.
You watched the Twin Peaks series finale on that 7-inch screen in your kitchen, which is, by the
Yeah.
way, letterboxed, or it's not letterboxed, it's 4 by 3 because it was made when televisions were square. And so what that cuts out half the screen. So really, we're talking like 3.5 inches. That's what you watched it on.
Yeah. Is that like a penis joke in there somewhere?
No, it's just such disrespect. I just want to take a hammer to that TV and smash it on the floor. I hate that TV because you rely on it, and yet it's just a bastardization. You might as well watch it on your iWatch, your Apple iWatch.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the
I
big as the
watch it on
screen
my
is.
phone. I watch it on my tablet. I watch it everything except on my 60-inch television screen.
Yes, which I don't understand because it's right there in your living room.
3 minute blitzkrieg. By the way, that
All right,
time was up, Bill. That's why I
that's
had to
fine.
do that.
That's fine.
All right. So, YouTube views. After 24 hours, the It trailer was seen by more than 197 million people globally. More than 80 million views and over 1.8 million shares on the US Facebook instance alone. At 36 hours, that figure stands at an astonishing 246 million views. The 197 million views beats the previous 24-hour record holder, The Fate of the Furious, who recorded 139 million views in a single day. I will point out that The Force Awakens received 88 million views in 24 hours, Beauty and the Beast 91.8 million, Captain America Civil War 61 million, Age of Ultron 34 million in 24 hours. My question to you, Bill, is the YouTube views. Is that a sign of future success or is it fool's gold?
I don't know. This is something we talked about. We probably have to take a look at the patterns. So if you want to keep track of that site that you got this information from,
Well,
and
I
so
will I
therefore
will
we
I
can
will tell
look
you
at it.
that The Force Awakens, it's like made a couple billion. I mean,
Right.
Beauty and the Beast is up to 1 billion. I recall Suicide Squad having a ton of views. I don't know how many in 24 hour, but I recall it being a lot. That also was box office success.
I'm
But go
kind of
ahead.
shocked at the amount of views that Age of Ultron would have received. That seems less than half of the ones that The Force Awakens or Beauty and the Beast received. And I would not expect them to be that low. But, I mean, I imagine somebody somewhere finds importance and significance in these numbers beyond what I can really grasp at this point because I don't really understand the correlation yet. But like I said, we should probably keep track of it and look at it in the future and see if this follows a pattern for
Yeah,
box office.
I'm thinking you're right about that, and my knee-jerk reaction appears to be that if well, you know what, it comes out in September, and after all these views, if it results in some sort of box office success, I'm not saying that's a direct correlation, but it appears that maybe it seems to be very popular. You know, maybe that's a key. What's that like? What is that Gangnam Style video? Everybody was watching. I
Viral.
mean, yeah, viral.
Um, I would think this, like I said, is an interesting numbers game. Um, is there a website that you found this information on that you can send me so that I can keep a track of it too? Or do you know where you got all this stuff from?
Bill, I'm a journalist. Okay, I don't reveal
Uh,
my sources.
really? Okay. All right. Um,
I mean, I
yeah,
can
I would
send it to
say
you, but you never reveal your sources. I can tell you that right now.
really. Yeah, I would like to see if there's a pattern forming. I mean, is it one of those things where people say they'll do things like click on websites and that indicates they'll go to the movie and then they don't do it?
You're right.
Um,
I guess what's missing is I need the
it's
information where there was
easy,
a ton of views and then actually not box office success.
right? It's easy to click a button on a mouse. It's a little harder to get dressed, get your clothes on, go out to a movie theater and pay movie theater admission and fight the crowds. So, is it always a case where the biggest clicks get the most people? Or are people clicking and not going?
Okay. 3 minute blitzkrieg. I just like saying that.
I know.
So, Bill, what's becoming more and more prevalent, I've noticed, and you've noticed, is that there are teasers for the teasers.
I'm
A
not a fan of
little
this
bit of an
trend.
appetizer before the actual trailer.
It's
Is
stupid
this
as
a
fuck.
good way to generate buzz, or is this just
No, it's
plain
irritating. It's
irritating?
fucking irritating. I hate it. I think it's fucking stupid, and I don't understand the point. Because what happens is, I obviously do not want to be bothered with a teaser for a trailer of 16 seconds of the only 1 minute and 38-second trailer that's going to be released the next day or in the next couple of days. But inevitably, there's always some websites on my Twitter feed, on my Twitter, my timeline, my Twitter timeline that has like we've got 70,000 screen grabs from the 10-second teaser for the trailer tomorrow. So I end up seeing like one of those, remember those flip books you used to make of like animation where you draw a person like a stick figure and then you move his leg like a half an inch and then another one on the next page and the next page, then you flip
Yeah.
it through. It's like that where you end up seeing like a flip book of the 10 seconds of the teaser for the trailer. And so by the time you actually get to now you can't even wait for the trailers. Before it was like I had to tune out the trailers because they give away too much of the movie. Now the teasers for the trailers are giving away too much of the trailers. Where does it end? I don't know.
Is this the definition of like clickbait? Is this what we're trying to
Yes,
do?
this is the definition of clickbait. Exactly, that's exactly what it is. Click us and we'll give you more information faster than anybody else. Or we'll just keep making you click through the pages so that you can see one frame at a time until you get to the article that really doesn't tell you anything you didn't already know.
I'd like to see how much they actually generate from doing something like that. But in terms of goodwill, I agree with you. It's highly frustrating. And part of it is sometimes I just skim it. All I see is trailer and I see something that says like, trailer, Avengers. And I click on it. And then I call you on the phone and I'm like, what the hell? It's like 7 seconds. It's 7 seconds.
Right.
And then I'm annoyed and I'm irritated. And you're like, no, no, the real trailer comes out tomorrow. And I'm like, oh, teaser for the teaser.
Yeah, I can't take it. But this is the age we live in, and I don't know. So I wish there was some kind of like, because the other thing that happens is, when you go to websites and you want to read an article, only there's so many fucking ads that pop up before you can get to the article that you can't get to the article because the ads are actually blocking you fucking reading the article. I hate it with a passion. I can't take it. And if I have to click enough times and the article has not appeared, I just, out of frustration, just delete it. I don't even care. I can't be bothered. I'm just trying to read an article. I'm not trying to be force fed 17 ads before I get to read what you had me click on this for.
What's sad, and wrapping this up, what's sad is that when I click on the article, when I get that truncated page, or I
Hmm.
do get sort of like a flip book thing where I have to hit the arrow button to go to the next page, which inevitably is always some sort of at a download speed of like a turtle pace.
Hmm.
I just click out of it. I just click out of it, and then I'm like, you know what? I would like to know that information, but I just rather be ignorant because I'm just
Right.
too. I don't have enough patience to just click through.
It's like you have to fight through piles of garbage to get to one sentence worth of information. And I can't. There's too many sources of information. I would rather just wait to find out later then, because if you're going to make me jump through 15 hoops to get to your scoop, I don't want to be bothered. I don't care.
3 minute blitzkrieg. The Spider-Man Homecoming trailer was released. Bill, thumbs
It
up or
was.
thumbs down?
I'm going to say thumbs up. Um,
Really?
but now, which trailer are you talking about? Because I think there was one that I haven't seen yet, or there's one. When was it released?
Oh, Bill, I wrote the script. I can't put in every detail. I need you to be up to
I know, but
fucking date.
I try to watch the first teaser, maybe the second teaser if I think there'll be three. I think I watched the second teaser, but I'm certainly not watching the third one. So hopefully this isn't information that I don't already know that we're talking about here. But in any case, if it's the one I'm thinking of, I liked it. I just find like this is the one where he has the costume and it like shrinks down onto his body
Yes.
and the little spider flies off his chest.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Then this is the one I saw. And I like it. I just think, there's got to be something more to this story because I'm tired of them rebooting Spider Man. I'm just tired of it. I love this movie series. I love the other five movies. I just am not seeing anything from these trailers that indicate to me why they needed to start over again.
You know what, Bill?
And
I'm going to roll in our other topic with this Spider-Man thing to add to our discussion here. Tom Holland says that his Spider-Man Homecoming is different, and I think the quote is, "We really tried to convey that he's enjoying his superpowers. More often than not, in superhero movies, the powers are a burden to the superhero, but in our case, they're the complete opposite."
that's
Does that
fine.
help you?
I'm okay with that. I still don't know if that's enough of a justification for them to have to reboot this franchise for the third time in the last 15 years. Um, I'm
Was it
not
the
sold.
was it the Sam Raimi version as well as what is his name? What's the director of
Mark Webb.
Amazing? Yeah, weren't the Spider-Mans enjoying their superpowers in those movies?
I don't recall them like being like yippee ki yay motherfucker over it, but I mean, I think Andrew Garfield was certainly had a lot of the flippant um, attitude that people associate with the Spider-Man character, more so I think than even um, why is this slipping my mind? The original Spider-Man, Tobey
Tobey
Maguire.
Maguire.
And I think, yeah, I mean, he was in high school too. So again, I just don't know. It feels in a certain way for me like they're just doing this to put their own stink on it at Marvel Studios. And I just don't know if that needed to be something that they had to throw out all of the other franchise for in order for them to do. So I'll reserve my judgment until the movie is out and I've seen it to say whether I think that it was justified for them to start this over again. But at this point, I'm sort of dubious and I kind of feel a little bit not angry about it, but I'm a little bit less than enthused. Like, of all the superhero movies coming out this year, this is not one I'm like super excited to see.
Yeah, I mean, you've never letting go of the Andrew Garfield love, so you're still like carrying that torch for him, and that's understandable. I would be kind of, I'm kind of on the same page with you. I'm a little bit dubious of the whole thing. I mean, the comment is something that I've been wanting to hear and wanting to have it implemented in throughout superhero movies where I hate to see superheroes gain powers or, humans gain powers and then lament and cry about the fact that they have this and they, it's such a negative thing. It's such a heavy burden as opposed to just like Chronicle, you get your powers and then you're flying around the world, or you're kind of using your super speed to go get yourself a Slurpee from the 7-Eleven or something. I wanted there to be some joy. I don't know if I need that statement to be in the Spider-Man movie because I feel like the past ones, the Raimi, the Mark Webb version, I mean, like you said, maybe they weren't so like, oh, this is great, but I don't recall them being downtrodden because Spider-Man, the character himself, he's a fun character. He's a very humorous, jovial, joking guy. You don't get the whole like, oh,
I mean,
that's
there was a
not
lot
enough.
of like,
That's not enough change for me to sit there and be like, oh, this is going to be so different than the previous Spider-Mans. I really don't think that's going to be the case.
well, at least they're not doing the origin again, so that we don't have to sit through Uncle Ben dying again, and that they're
No,
going to
what
sort
we
of
get to sit through is Aunt May trying to get her groove back with RDJ. That's what you
right.
get.
The changes that they've made though seem to me on the surface of them to be somewhat cosmetic. Like Aunt May not being an octogenarian, well, I mean that's kind of surfacey. The Vulture having some kind of history with the Tony Stark and his company business. I mean, that was kind of done in Iron Man 1. And even Iron Man 2, that was kind of done. So I hope, here's what I hope. I hope they do distinguish it. I do hope. I hope they make it strong John Hughes vibes. I hope that Tom Holland embraces the character in a fresh way that hasn't been done by Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire. I hope it's not just sort of like the Michael Keaton is sort of like the family villain hater guy like that was in Iron Man 1 or Iron Man 2. I hope they give me fresh, but these trailers don't give me fresh, and so I'm not feeling it at this point. So we'll see. I have hope for the movie. I'm just not sold on it from what they've shown me so far. And for God, sorry, for God's sakes,
Finish it.
can we stop rebooting Spider-Man after this? Whatever happens with Tom Holland, can we just keep him? Because I'm done with the reboots. Just make it work. For this movie, for Infinity War. Okay, I
So
get it. You want me to shut up.
you want Tom Holland to take that lifelong contract. He's
Yeah.
Spider-Man until he's 55.
If he works, I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm tired of having to get invested in one actor only to have them dump the whole thing and start over again. So
Okay. 3-minute blitzkrieg. Apparently, Bill, there is an age restriction for the Power Rangers movie, went from 16 to 18. The change came after some Russian legislators complained about the inclusion of a gay character.
So the
So,
change in the age was restricted to Russia because it wasn't that here because obviously we
no,
have
no,
our
it's over in Russia. It's over in
okay.
Russia. You saw the Power Rangers movie. Is that a good idea by the Ruskies over there, or do you think that's kind of nefarious?
I don't remember because I walked out. So I don't remember the
I'm
whole
not even.
revelation of that
I'm not even
character.
going to start the stopwatch. I'm not even going to start the stopwatch.
Yeah, I stopped giving two fucks about 20 minutes in, and it never came back. So I just left.
Okay. Do you even recall the gay character?
I don't recall her mentioning the fact that she was gay in the part of the movie I saw. So I can't really speak to the revelation and how it came about in the film because the rest of it was so much garbage that I couldn't have cared less. I think I stayed. I do think I stayed till like maybe near the end, and if she mentioned her gayness, maybe I had tuned out at that point so much that I didn't care.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's the 1 minute blitzkrieg right there,
Got it.
because apparently only like a, I think since it's March 24th release in Russia, Power Rangers has only pulled in $1 million.
I'm
So it looks
shocked.
like they don't care either.
Yeah. But it's done well here, I think. I don't think it's done horribly here. I don't know if they'll, I'm not going to be partaking in any further chapters of the franchise, so I don't really care.
You know what? I'm going to look it up since we still have some time. Since we still have time, I'm going to look up the Power Rangers on our new website,
Numbers.com.
and here we go. Let's go international. So what do you want? Since it's
Domestic.
March 24th release, what do you want? Australia, Brazil, Malaysia, Mexico, Portugal,
Actually, can you
Russia?
just give me US? Can I just get the US?
The U.S.
All
All
those
right,
other
let's see.
numbers don't. All those other countries aren't really super important to me.
You want me to go U.S.? The funny
Kind of.
thing about this, I don't know where to look for the U.S. on here.
Really, it's called Box Office Mojo.
All righty here. Okay. So we're going back to America First policy.
Yeah,
Is that
it's
all
Trump
right?
land now, motherfuckers.
Power Rangers. Here we go. 2017. We've got 75 million.
And how much did it cost?
100 million.
Ooh. Oh.
It's I think it's like it's got a total of 42 million worldwide. I mean foreign. So it's up to 117 million.
Doesn't sound like a smash hit to me.
Nope. I think they're going to have to rethink making 2 or 3 more of these bad boys.
Well,
Hey.
I'm not really surprised, but I mean, listen, I understand the concept of the original show, and I was not a fan of it in the first place. I just thought, based on the trailer that looked somewhat interesting, that it would be a little bit more interesting of a movie with the direction they seem to be going in the trailer. But that trailer is deceiving. That's all I can tell you
Wow.
because it, I'm not super picky. I even love Catwoman, and I couldn't handle it. So.
All right. Are you ready? 3-minute blitzkrieg.
You're not going to overuse that sound to the point where people don't really want to hear it anymore, are you?
The thing about it is, I have to use it just for the script here. I'll forget about it. They'll forget about it. They're like lemmings. Nobody will remember the sound.
Okay.
I don't
All
think.
right.
So, I have to include this because there's a reason. Just like you include things in the script, apparently some Dark Tower footage was released at CineCon over in Las Vegas. Obviously, Dark Tower is based on a book written by Stephen King. Are you interested to know what was released, or you don't really care about the Dark Tower?
I'm not like all up in the Dark Tower, but depending upon what the trailer looks like, I'm not all out of it. I could be into it if they show me something to be into. So it's got some cool people. I understand it's got some cred to it as far as, I know it has quite a following. It's an interesting concept.
The Dark Tower stars Idris Elba and Matt McConaughey. It's apparently the movie's supposed to be released in August of this year. It's fucking April. Is it unusual that we don't have a trailer by now?
I think for a film of this size, yes. They usually release in a week we're going to get the Force Awakens. The Last Jedi's first trailer at the Star Wars convention, and that's what 6 months before the movie comes out.
Yeah.
We're only like 4 months.
Yeah.
I know that's good news, but I know we're only 4 months away from this movie, and also Star Wars already has kind of knowledge beyond its core fan base. I'm not sure the Dark Tower has that, so they might want to get that information out earlier than later. I don't know.
What I was gonna,
I don't
you
know.
don't know what.
I don't know what's going on with the Dark Tower. It's weird. I think it's weird.
Yeah, and usually weird is not good.
Right.
You know, I know things have changed in terms of like how movies are released, but usually like going with the old formula, when movies were released in February, it's like the graveyard shift. You know, you could look at that like that's a bad sign that they're not confident about it, that they're releasing it in the dead months. Not having a trailer out this close to a movie being released seems to be a little bit odd. But I do have to say that I never read the Dark Tower books. Obviously, I haven't read it either, but the trailer for it, like I said before, makes me want to read the book. And even though the Dark Tower, you know, I've kind of read over the Wikipedia pages to try to get an idea about the flavor of it, it seems a little bit dense and convoluted, not really accessible to me. But there's something that I'm intrigued by it, even though I really don't know much about it. I'm intrigued. Unfortunately, I did read somebody's synopsis of the footage that was shown, the stuff that you hate, to
Why do you
read
do
about
that?
the trailer.
Why would you read about a trailer? Why even do that? It's just so strange. I hate that too. On top of the teasers for the trailers, I also hate when they give you descriptions of trailers. What the fuck is that?
So Idris Elba's character comes out. He's wearing a black long coat and it's flowing in the wind, and he walks with a steady gait.
Ugh. No, I can't. I just can't.
Uh,
I can't.
I want you to know
So,
I'll be glued to my TV screen or my phone or my little television in my kitchen when this trailer drops. I'm very excited. I don't know why. I'm hoping that the trailer like really confirms this for me.
did you get that TV from your surveys? Or did you get something else?
No, I've got a MacBook.
Okay. You couldn't just listen to me and put that TV in your kitchen so that you wouldn't have to watch shit on a 6-inch screen, huh?
Yes, another giant television in another part of my house. It's max headroom all over here. Okay.
Okay. I'm just saying, if you insist on eating your breakfast, watching TV in the kitchen, you could have done so on a lovely 55-inch. But no,
Right.
no, don't
This
do
is
that.
this is coming from you're also telling me from the guy that was trying to maybe put in my small ass bathroom a television right there across from my toilet as well as a television in the shower.
I
I
never
mean,
set a television in the shower. I never said that, and I don't think I ever said it in the bathroom. I
how
think,
cool would that be? How would cool?
well,
I mean,
not
nobody
really,
would
because
want to
I think
touch the remote. You wouldn't
the
want to touch
TV
the remote in
itself,
there.
if the TV is 55 inches, it's probably bigger than the whole bathroom. So that would be difficult. But in the
By the
kitchen on
way,
that wall,
my woman's pushing for me, like, because you know I'm trying to spruce up everything. She's like, maybe you should put like if you're ever thinking about selling a house, maybe you should put a bath fitter in here. I was like, bath fitter.
we've talked
I go,
about this.
yeah, I
I
know.
agree.
Everybody's pushing for the bath fitter.
Yes, because everybody who comes over there is horrified to the level of like some kind of psychological thriller at the state of
And,
that bathroom.
and they also go like this. There's always the phrase too of, "Hey, it's not that expensive."
It's
It's
really
all the
not.
oh, there you go, there you go.
I think they
Yeah,
said you can get them for under 5 now.
under 5 grand.
Yeah, that's not that
Yeah,
expensive.
yeah. 3 minute blitzkrieg. Bill,
Yeah.
Disney released their movie schedule also at the Las Vegas CinemaCon from 2017 to 2019. I know you're a big fan of Disney and wish you owned their stock, but apparently these are the movies you have to look forward to: Guardians 2, Cars 3, Thor Ragnarok, Star Wars Last Jedi, Avengers Infinity War, Incredibles 2, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Gigantic, a loose version of the Jack and the Beanstalk story, Captain Marvel, Born in China, Pirates movie, Coco, Black Panther, Wrinkle in Time with our girl Ava DuVernay, a Han Solo movie, Mulan, Mary Poppins, and Wreck-It Ralph 2. Fuck, that's a lot of movies by the Mouse House.
That's not surprising, but a huge portion of them are movies that are on my must-see list. Disney is the company that owns my ass, and that's just how it is. And
Okay.
I wholeheartedly give it to them.
So I'm assuming, obviously, the Star Wars thing is at the top of the list from this movie release schedule. The Last Jedi. Is that fair to
Right.
say?
This is not in, I believe, chronological order, this list, but
No, it is
um
not. I
no.
didn't list it in chrono.
But let's see. Guardians 2 is a must see. Thor Ragnarok, obviously The Last Jedi, Infinity War, Incredibles 2, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Gigantic, I will probably see. Captain Marvel, Born in China, could care less. It's one of those Disney documentaries about, I think, panda bears. Don't
Panda
care.
Bears. Yep.
Pirates, nope. Coco, on the fence, but it's Pixar. I'll go see it. Black Panther, yes. Wrinkle in Time, Han Solo, Mulan, no. Mary Poppins, no. And Wreck It Ralph 2, yes. So there's like 3 movies on that list I don't really care about.
What
Out of
about
like
Mary
10,
Poppins? You're not a Mary Poppins fan?
I never saw the original Mary Poppins, to be honest with you.
All right.
So the return doesn't really thrill me because I don't even know where she's returning from. Um, but if they could add the Little Mermaid live action on the end of that, then they'd have me on lock. So
Okay. Well, that's coming though. It's just not
I know.
apparently in 2019, 2017 to 2019. I have to admit that I'm more excited about um, The Incredibles 2. I'm a big fan of the first Incredibles.
Yeah.
Um, should I be excited about Black Panther?
I would say 55% excited.
All I have to say is there seems to be a lot of money on this page for over the next couple years for them.
Oh yeah, there's. I mean, they own Hollywood. I mean, the company owns the 4 biggest companies in Hollywood.
I mean, you've got
So
The Last Jedi, you've got the Avengers Infinity War, you've got Guardians, you've got The Incredibles 2. These things are all like surefire hits and moneymakers. I'm not sure about this Pirates. I feel like it's run its course. And I don't know enough about The Wrinkle in Time.
I believe that was a book that we had to read in grade school. I think it's fantasy, so I think it might be the new sort of Lord of the Rings slash Chronicles of Narnia kind of thing.
Yeah, I didn't have to read that book because I was so handsome. They just pushed me through school.
Wow, that isn't actually the reason why, but okay. So yeah, there's a lot of shit coming up that we're gonna have to spend our money on. So
Okay. All right.
I'm not
I
gonna
know.
complain.
We look forward to spending our money, but Cars 3 is not on the list. Am I correct?
No, I'm not gonna see Cars 3.
That's
I never talked.
that's clearly for children. Clearly for children.
I just don't. It's the one Pixar property that I just don't understand. I don't understand the anthropomorphic automobiles. It's just jarring to me. I mean, all the other things are usually like animals that can walk and talk and sing, but I don't understand where the cars get personalities from. That
Hmm.
confuses me. I don't understand that.
3 minute blitzkrieg. Our
That
boy
is
Josh
so
Whedon is
fresh. Fresh. I cracked a jar of fresh when you said it the last time.
You know what? When I hit it, do you want to say 3 minute blitzkrieg? I
No,
can
I
just
think we
turn it
could
over to
probably
you.
just move on from the whole 3 minute blitzkrieg thing and just keep going.
You know what? I'm like a child. It gives me joy, and I want to
That's
continue
all
doing
right.
it.
That's fine. Whatever makes you happy.
You know, maybe if we had some sort of like online, like while we're doing the show feedback, it might show some sort of negative rating every time I said 3 minute blitzkrieg, and the people might we would have a producer in my ear going, "Hey, Payne, stop doing that."
Knock it off.
Apparently, people
Right.
don't like it. They don't like it. Yeah, but
So
I don't have one.
my whole annoyed tone when you do it, that's not a clue. That's not giving you any
Yeah, your judgment and
info.
opinions are suspect, so I really can't take it seriously.
Okay.
So Josh Whedon is back, and apparently it hit the interwebs that he's going to be directing a Batgirl movie. Is this a big score for Time Warner and the DCEU, or were you hoping for something else?
Look, Batgirl's not really an A-list character, true enough. However, Joss Whedon plus DC, I'm in. Because Joss Whedon, if there's one thing he can do, it's write strong female characters. Obviously, Buffy being the primary one. So I'm excited that DC has a top tier director who's made big money for the opposite studio, which they certainly need to shore up their sort of pools of directors since we still don't have one to replace Rick Fukuyama of Flash. Um, Batgirl as a property, I don't know if I'm like dying to see that, but Joss will probably get me in the theater to see where they go with it. I just feel like it's kind of like a C grade level character for them to really be investing in. Like, why are we doing Batgirl when we still haven't got Batman on lock? Like, maybe they
Bill,
should put Joss on some kind of committee to help get Batman on lock.
Bill, I feel as though somehow all the things I've said to you over the years, it's finally maybe through my direct verbal assaults or just through some sort of osmosis, you're really conveying my feelings. Everything you said, I have to admit, I agree with you. I don't. Josh Whedon is obviously an A-list talent. He can write a strong female character. The pairing of him is obviously great. I just don't know if I have this whole desire to see Batgirl on screen. I mean, I'm not saying it won't be good, but I feel like there's so much more out there to explore outside of Batgirl. And I agree with you. I feel like I mean, C-list is kind of harsh, but I think in this it's fair because we already have Batman. I don't. I need a female version of her. I don't know. Give me something else.
Well,
That's
right now it's all about female empowerment. That is really on top of diversity and shoring up like the racial diversity and integration of everybody gets a seat at the table. Included in that is females becoming primary antagonists or protagonists in films. So I guess I understand it. I guess I get it. It's part of the trend. But can we just get Wonder Woman on solid ground first before we start worrying about Batgirl?
yeah, fair enough.
What are you
You would
playing?
think they would.
Oh, really?
It's
It's a
it's
small
a
world
small world
after all.
after all.
Okay.
When you start saying about diversity, I just want to start playing It's a Small World.
Right. Okay. Really?
All right, but you're
Okay.
right. I think Josh should probably be talent should be put to other areas, maybe.
It just feels like, not an urgent character that needs to be told right away. Maybe once they get into phase 2 or phase 3, once they get into their Captain Marvel level hero time, then Batgirl can come out of the closet, if you will. But right now, I feel like they're not on solid enough ground to be pulling up these sort of like less integral characters. They need to get their shit on solid with the primaries and then move on to this stuff.
Fair enough. Did you not want to say it?
I don't. I don't want to hear it anymore. I don't.
I'm going to give you a respite just for this one. Bill, the second Mummy trailer came out. I hope for episode 40 fucking 2 that you watch this trailer.
I watched the trailer, and I can tell you what it has solidified for me. The Mummy's coming off my must-see list for the summer. I'm done.
Oh, wait for it. I got to get it. Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
No, I'm not. It looks like garbage. And I am all out of fucks to give about this movie.
Bill,
So,
this is the start of the Monsters universe. It's universe building. This is what we're doing. You can't take it off your list. It's the entry point movie.
well, I'll tell you what I'll do. When they give me a point that I feel like jumping on their little cinematic universe train with a Dracula or some kind of like A-list character that I can get behind, and they give me a trailer that looks less like the last version of the Mummy they did, which the CG or Van Helsing or some other like low grade special effects extravaganza. When they give me a reason to go and get invested in their stories, I will go see their movies. But at this point, this stuff looks like crap.
So
I
the
think it
first
looks
trailer,
terrible.
you were on the fence. In the second trailer, what about the second trailer pushed you over the edge then?
More of
And
the
to
same of
know.
the first one. It just that girl who's playing the mummy looks just so generic and boring and not scary, and the effects look so cheap and cheesy and not well done. And it all just it smacks of we need to create a franchise, so this is what you're gonna get. That's what
What's
it is.
interesting, Bill, I have to admit that the second trailer pushed me over into the category of maybe it won't be a complete flop, and I was more intrigued by it. But I do have to agree that I think with the second trailer, they pushed a lot more to show you some of the special effects, some of the background story of the mummy character, which it gave a little bit more heft. But I do agree with you that the mummy character itself, the girl, there's just something that's so regular, so white bread about it that it's not kind of like I would think you would want the person that's playing the villain to be somewhat striking, especially in the monsters universe context. Like it's going to be an essential member, and it's just there's nothing. You're right. There's nothing really scary about what it's showing, and what it looks like. It looks like that Brendan Fraser's old mummy, but just with a little bit darker.
Right.
A little bit more gray palettes, but not much else. Besides, instead of having Brendan Fraser, you have Tom Cruise. Big
Yeah.
difference, but
If my husband's a fan of the original Universal Monster series, so he might pull you know a spouse card on this one, and if he does, then I'll go. But I'm not going to be like, we have to be there Friday night at opening show. I'm not. I'm just not into
I like that. When he gives you that spouse card, does he go like this?
it. Maybe that's for me to know.
Okay. All right. Oh, that's just so nasty. That's so nasty. 3 minute blitzkrieg. It's back.
Oh God. Oh God.
right.
You're going to drive it right in the ground.
All right. So episode 9, I'm talking of Star Wars. We've got episode 8, The Last Jedi, coming out, what, December?
Well, the rumor is now it's going to be May of 2019. So I don't know. I wish they.
No. Wait. I said The Last Jedi.
Oh, The Last Jedi is December 17th. Yeah, sorry.
December 17th this year. And then after that, it's episode 9. And you're
No.
thinking that might
Nope.
be-
After that, it's Han Solo in
Okay.
May of 2018. And then after that, it's supposed to be episode 9 in May of 2019.
Okay, and this is continuing the John Boyega, Daisy Ridley storyline, and obviously we lost Carrie Fisher, and so apparently Carrie Fisher is in lock for The Last Jedi coming out in this year, December. But for episode 9, we do not have Carrie Fisher. So apparently they're going to be using the past footage that they've had to put her in the movie. Do you think that's good that they use this B-roll footage, or do you want
I
them
don't
just to digitize the woman?
No, maybe they could do a combination. I don't know. I don't know how many outtakes they have to use from either The Force Awakens or The Last Jedi. But if they can cobble together footage that will make some kind of sense of her leaving the canvas or the universe, then I guess they should use it rather than go digital. If they need to augment that footage with digital, I'm okay with that. Um, I just want her end to feel emotional and to feel like a fitting tribute to that character rather than them just sort of like doing what they did with the Mother Soprano and the Sopranos, where it was like, didn't they computer generate her and it looked terrible and it didn't really make any sense? The last scenes of her when she died. I just want it to be fitting and make sense. So, however they get about that, that's fine.
I guess I'm with you on that one. I mean, the technology is advancing every day. So, I mean, obviously, I would like them to use the actual like outtake or the footage that didn't make it in order for it to happen because I think that's more authentic.
Yeah, but
as
what kind of footage could they have taken out that would actually spell the end of the character? Like, I don't
I
see how they could do that.
I
using
know
that
because what you really want is you want to have her do some sort of maybe speech at the end to be like, you know what, Ray, follow your dreams, and I'll always be there with you, and then have her die. But you probably don't have any where she's giving any type of like final advice some sage thing. You just have her
Right.
sitting there going, "Launch the missiles."
So what is it going to be? Launch the missiles and then like somehow her planet blows up like they did with Alderaan and then she's just gone? I don't know if I really care for that type of ending.
Yeah,
So
well. Let's be. That's not going to be acceptable for you because you want her to go out with a
I want
tribute of sort
closure. That's what I want.
closure.
I want closure, yes.
Yes, and closure is not some sort of her doing some mundane stuff, but actually saying something that's memorable before she passes on.
Right.
I feel you. It's going to be tough, but what if they did digitize her to maybe give you that closure? Are you going to be very judgmental if the fact is that it doesn't seem to be real? Like you can just tell that it's obviously computer generated.
I don't know. I watched Rogue One was released on Blu-ray this week and of course I watched it and I have to say that with further viewings after we've seen it twice in the movie theater and maybe it's on a smaller screen and maybe it's on Blu-ray and so I don't know if it's not as giant as it is in the movies, but I did not find the Tarkin and Leia stuff nearly as jarring as I found it when we saw it in the theater. So I don't know. Maybe if they continue to progress the technology, they can get to a point where it actually looks even more like real people. So, I'm going to take a wait and see to this, but the fact that they're having her in the movie is a good sign in whatever way they do it. Because originally they said they just weren't going to use the digital thing and that made you think that they weren't going to put her in the movie. But now, her brother come out this weekend and said no, they're going to have her in there. So, it's good news for me in general that she's at least going to be in it. We'll see how they do it later.
3 minutes blitzkrieg.
Must you play that sound between every news clip?
People have to know when we're going into the next subject, Bill.
Well, yeah, but it's okay.
Listen, when you get the producer credits or you get the PR that you have that I have after my name, then maybe you can run the show, okay?
Okay. All right.
Right now, you just collect your checks for just showing up to put forth your quote talent.
What can I say?
All right, I hate to have to even talk about MTV, but I came across this and I thought it was quite interesting. Apparently, the nominations for the MTV Movie and TV Awards were announced this week, and with them came a change in how some of the categories are separated. Rather than dividing them up the acting awards with Best Actor and Best Actress categories, there will now be a single non-gendered acting category in both the movie and TV arenas, so that non-binary talents are not forced to identify as something they're not. The term actor is actually meant to be a non-gendered, all-inclusive term. That's also why MTV decided to revamp the categories, blah, 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 blah. So my point to you, Bill, is this something maybe the Oscars should think about doing?
I don't understand this term non-gendered acting categories so that people are not forced to identify as something they're not. How would
I
that
guess
be possible if you're non-binary and you are somehow considered? I mean, isn't it usually one or the other? I don't know of any actors or actresses that are one sex but feel like they want to be another. I mean,
Bill, maybe my sexuality is very fluid. One day I wake up and I'm feeling like male, and the next day I'm feeling like female. I don't want to be put in a box, Bill.
well, all I have to say to you is, you know what? I don't care which one you want to be, but pick one. Okay? I don't care if you're a male or a female or an actor or an actress, but you got to go in one of these boxes. So, whichever one you feel most comfortable in, I suggest you get in that line. That's all I'm
So
saying.
wait, you're not open to this idea of just having just the open category, best actor. It could be female, male, whatever you want to be, transgender, transsexual. It's just acting. Best actor.
Well, if you're going to walk around the screen wearing a dress, makeup, and a weave, I'm going to put you in the actress category. And
Yeah,
that's just
I feel like you're like a caveman over there. You're like, if
no.
you're walking around in hills, obviously it has to be actress. What if you just
Well,
got rid of that? I'm
it's
asking you to
your.
get
But
rid of.
why does everything have to be
You
so
know why?
goddamn politically
Here,
correct?
this why? Because in sports, I can understand why you sit there and you have separate events for males and females because genetically we are different.
Yes, men are
I
superior.
I get that.
I hope people
And
get the tongue-in-cheekness of that comment. But anyway,
yeah, I'm sure they do based on everything. I'm usually the one that says the more offensive things, so I'm sure they got that. But the point is, I get it in a sports aspect. But about over here, and this is talent. This is something we all can do, presumably acting. So why do you have to sit there and have that designation? Is there really that much of a difference between a female and a male actor? Why can't you just have just an open category?
if you want to walk around as a male wearing a dress and a weave and makeup, people are going to expect you to be a woman. Now, if you're not going to walk around in that and you're going to look male, then they're going to put you in the actor category. But I don't understand why you would be offended if you are dressed like a woman and you are parading around the world looking like a woman the best you can. Why you would be offended that someone would call you what you're trying to look like?
Now, as usual, Bill, this since this show doesn't pay us enough money to do it full time, I don't have time to sit there and do the full type of research necessary to make it really A plus. But my understanding with the Grammys is that they have like just like a best singer category. They don't necessarily
Well, they
have
don't.
a best
No one
female or
says
best
best
male.
songstress. That's just a weird thing. That's just how it is. But classically, in award shows for acting, you have actor or actress, and it's just how it's done. And I again, if you're not comfortable being called an actress, then I suggest take the dress off. Okay.
You know, I actually have to disagree with you. You're like a caveman today. You're taking on some of my traits, but some of my more nasty traits. That's what you're taking on
Really?
right now. I think I'm more open to this idea of just having just a general acting category. Best person takes it. I'm not really sure this is the time for it because I think there could be some sort of inequities that could arise. I'm not.
I don't
I'm,
understand.
I'm,
If
I'm
you're
I'm
a
not.
man who's portraying a woman in a movie, but you are a man, then you're the best actor. If you're a woman who's portraying a man in the movie, you're still the best actress. It's not the role you're portraying, it's what you are in your life. If you are,
How about the best person?
why does it have to be that? Why can't, if you're going to be something that's not inside a box, then own it. Own it. Don't go, I feel like you're trying to label me because you call me an actress, but I'm wearing stockings and 4-inch heels and the shade of whore red lipstick and a weave that goes down to my ass. But I'm really an actor. I'm not an actress.
We're going to have to explore this again here because this
I
is
just
this is
don't understand why everything has to be, I understand that we want to be sensitive to people's non binary whatevers. That's fine.
actually, you know what? That's actually not where I'm coming from. I'm not even thinking about that. I'm not thinking about upsetting the apple cart for the few people that are sitting there having some trouble figuring out. I'm not thinking about that. I'm actually just thinking about it just in general. It's just like, when you do a category, let's say we're going to award somebody for best computer program. Does there have to be the best male computer programmer? How about the best teacher? Do we have to do the best male teacher or the best female teacher? Why is it just the best teacher award? Why do you have to separate them out? I'm just asking. Does there have to be a separation?
Because that's
I mean,
how
if
it's
you want
always
to, I understand that, but do
because
you need
that's
it?
how it's always been done, and there's no
So we're
reason to
going with
change it.
tradition. We're going with
And there's
tradition.
there's no reason to change it. The only reason to change it was because someone would be uncomfortable suddenly after 75 years of there being best actor and actresses that they don't necessarily want to be. I just don't be
I got
labeled
you.
as.
So what you're
But
saying
it seems
is the
hypocritical to me that you don't want to be labeled as something that you want to walk around looking like. If you don't want to be considered called an actress, then don't walk around looking like a woman.
okay. So part of what I'm hearing, I get that part what you said is that it's sort of just tradition then. You don't feel the need to change.
I get a little tired of the over sensitivity and the over politically correctness that is being forced down everybody's throats anymore because we want to make everybody feel like they have a seat at the table or they feel included.
USA, USA, USA.
Sometimes, you know what? You just got to fit into some boxes for people. I understand. I'm not a box fitter myself, but you don't see me walking around telling people I need to be called something other than what my fat, gay, black ass is.
This is what we get right here. This is Trump's America. Trump, Trump, Trump.
Do you, boo, but just own it. Own whatever it is you feel like you are.
You know what I've been singing this weekend? We're gonna stop the 3 minute blitzkrieg for a second. You know what I've been singing? I've been singing that song. I wish I was in the land of cotton. Old times not. Hooray, hooray,
Why?
Dixieland.
Is this because of Twin Peaks?
Yes, actually, yes.
Okay.
It was that episode where Ben Hur was singing that song. It's a catchy tune, but I have to tell you, as a black man singing that tune is just obviously on so many different levels offensive. But it is a catchy fucking song. I
Wow.
mean,
Okay.
damn. I mean, they'll probably be string me up while I'm singing it, but I'd be like looking at them going, "It's a good song. It's a good song."
Fair enough.
All right, there we go. Let's hit the button. 3 minute blitzkrieg.
I don't suppose that people would know that we're changing subjects because we're talking about something different than we were just talking about. That wouldn't be a clue for them, would it?
Haters gonna hate. Michael Bay is back. Apparently, he's indicated that he's got in development, wait for it, 14 more Transformer stories. Bill, do
14
you think
more?
we'll get to 14? Or did you lose
Um,
interest after the first movie?
I quit after the first one, so I haven't cared in 5 other movies. Why would I care for the next 14? Um, that's fine. That's 14 more times I don't have to go to a movie theater, so have at it.
Wow. Well, I have to admit that I'm actually shocked, but I guess as long as the Transformers keeps making money, I guess they'll keep pumping them out. I mean, I find this franchise to be very uninspiring on so many different levels. And I used to watch the cartoon incessantly. I love the cartoon. Um, and after watching the first movie, I remember people around me being excited to go see it and like, oh, it's coming to the big screen. Upgraded special effects, and then it was just so I think I walked away with like a seizure after watching it. It was I couldn't separate anything out, and so I think with the second one they slowed it down more, but it was still just gobbledygook. And now what, we're up to the fifth one, and I lost interest. Like, it all blends into this day. This is the last night, and one was the Fallen. Like, it all just looks the same to me, and unfortunately maybe I'm just not giving it enough time, or I just don't care. But this is really one of those things where it's just shocking how
Well, unlike you,
uninterested and how uninspiring I find this franchise to be.
well, I was not ever into the cartoon, so I can't really speak to the cartoon. All I can
Oh,
say is that I did have seizures at the first movie, and that's not what I go to movies for. I'm all for great action scenes, but at a certain point, you sort of lose me in the grand slamming of metal against metal, and there being nothing underneath that to sort of draw me into the story of it meant that I don't care anymore. So again, it's a cinematic universe that I just don't feel like I need to be a part of, like the Harry Potter verse, or maybe the even Monsters movie verse.
yeah,
I'll just keep giving Marvel and Disney all my money. So it's fine.
okay. That was 1.5 minutes blitzkrieg on that last story. Bill, the Defenders, um, which is obviously consisting of Luke Cage, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Iron Fist. Apparently, the premiere of that show, The Defenders, combination of the whole team, is on August 18th of 2017. Is it going to have lots of superpowers, or is it going to be all sizzle and no steak?
Um, I kind of wish the premiere date was earlier in the summer. When they announced the summer premiere date, I kind of imagined it being sometime in July.
Why is
Um,
that?
it just felt like that would have been enough time between the current Iron Fist and between Defender starting, and then also Inhumans, which starts on ABC in.
It's not as though you're going to have Iron Fist watched by then anyway.
Well, I actually just might at this point. You just barely, probably, but still, it feels awfully close to the premiere of Inhumans to me, which is going to be on IMAX theaters on September 1st. So that's really like 12 days before the Inhumans. It feels like they might be sort of cannibalizing their own properties, and it doesn't really feel like they're spacing them out super well. So I'm not thrilled with the date. I wish it was earlier in the summer, but at least I know a date, so I can have that to look forward to. And I do hope that it does have more superpowers in it than the other Marvel Netflix shows. Um, so there's that.
Yeah, I guess I think I'm required to watch The Defenders, being a comic book aficionado, and this being my wheelhouse. I did see the sort of how they premiered the day with all four of the characters in the elevator. It is very interesting because it is sort of like a mini Avengers, um, Justice League team up, if you will. And you want to see how the characters interact. But I'm hoping with this combination of characters, I hope this would be different. Is that I know it's supposed to be a shorter series in terms of not a lot of episodes,
8 versus
and I'm
13.
hoping eight. Yes, and with eight, I'm hoping that now when they condense it, that this will result in a tighter story and the use of powers. I don't need them to do $1 million budgets, but I need them to do more than sit around and crack wise with one another. So
I also
we'll see.
heard that Iron Fist is not going to have his costume in the Defenders show, so the only costumed hero of the Defenders then will be Daredevil, which I think is weird. And I'm not sure
Well,
why
it's
they
not
made
fair.
that
Luke
choice.
Cage sort of has a costume in and of itself, which is just really a tight shirt. I
That's
mean,
not a costume, Jay. That's a tight shirt.
that's
That's not because it's the same color doesn't make it a costume. Okay, he's walking around wearing some shit that anybody would wear walking down the street. The only one in costume that looks like a superhero is Daredevil. So I don't know how I feel about that. I think it's weird that he's the only one. Like, I mean, are they all just going to be walking down the street? Jessica's going to be in her biker jacket, and Iron Fist is going to be with his big giant dragon tattoo with his open chest with only a jean jacket over it, which looks kind of gay. And then you're going to have Luke Cage with his canary yellow T-shirt, again, kind of gay. And then Daredevil in a Daredevil suit. That's just weird. I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know
all
why they're
right.
making that choice, but we'll see.
Okay. Continued 3 minute blitzkrieg. Wonder Woman is on pace to have the lowest DCEU opening, Bill. I meant to add more to that for you, the notes of the actual figures, but
I
apparently
heard
that got
80,
cut
maybe
out.
80 million.
Yes. Now, if low is a ton of money, who cares? Or is it just typical because it's a female? That's why it's gonna not
Well,
do as well as the
they're
other stuff.
they're always going to put the headline is always going to be something to knock DC down. As I'm sure we're used to this by now. Anytime they can find a crack in DC's armor, they will exploit it to the full potential. So,
Is it
anytime something,
DCEU like Obama? Is that what that like? Is that like a fair comparison?
yeah, I mean, I just feel like they're nitpicking at stuff to make this seem like less of a success than it could be. It's like the tide is opposite their side at this point, and they're fighting an uphill battle, and everybody is just going after them. I just can't wait till it makes more than what they're predicting, and they shut the fuck up about it for once. So
You're right about it in the sense that the storyline has to be something negative on it, as opposed to the fact is that this this movie, if it were to pull in 83 million, that's a great start for it, especially for the first time doing a like like a sort of like a female superhero on
Right.
such a large scale instead of accentuating the positive, which by the way, the trailer has me locked and loaded for that it looks really good.
Right.
I guess you have to just compare it to the rest of the movies. It's a bit. You're right. It's a bit of a slam, and I don't really think it's necessary. But I guess that's just the general. What is it? You get kick a horse while it's down.
I would say bias is really what it's at. It's bias in the media towards DC as a property, as a intellectual property company at this point. So, you're not going to
I,
hear this kind of shit coming out when Captain Marvel is released.
you're
So
right.
I
I
don't know
do
why
have
they're
to
doing
say
it.
though, with this Wonder Woman coming out, I guess what's going to actually separate this movie, even if it does make the lowest out of the four, out of the four total at that point DCEU movies, I bet you that one will be. I'm putting my 2 cents in that it will get the more critical acclaim, even if it doesn't make as much as the rest initially. I think it will have the critical acclaim with it that
Well,
the
then it's going to be
others
sort
did
of a
not
mixed
see at
bag
the
for
beginning.
DC, isn't it? It's going to
What's
be,
that?
oh, well, we are getting better reviews, but we're making less money. I don't know which one is more important to them. I think both of them are important to them as a company. Um, I just
Well, I
hope
think
that
both is important. I'm just saying. I think, well, we'll know when the numbers come in. I'm hoping it's going to do a lot better um,
me too, but 80 million
than,
is a
than
lot of
they
money.
anticipate. But I think what they really need is they also need once again, I don't know if you need fuck you money of like $2 billion, but certainly making a huge chunk of change and getting the critical acclaim is what they need. I think that gives them some sort of comfort and roadmap versus what they've not been getting, which is we made some money, but people say our stuff is shit. I don't think you can really live on that for long before things start crumbling down. I don't
We'll
think.
see.
Bill's negative on the 3 minute blitzkrieg. Negativity.
Bill's over it. Three
You
minutes.
know what, Bill? I don't know why I put this in here because I came across this when I was doing the script, and I don't know if we really have to discuss this or even talk about it. But I came across Diamond's popular company website for giving you a list of all the top comic books throughout the months, throughout the years, and I just wanted to take a snapshot as like, does this have any bearing on anything that we do in terms of popular cinema or movies? And I don't know. I put on here the top 10 books, comic books, in terms of sales for February of 2017, because they're a couple months behind.
Uh-huh.
And the number one comic book in February was the Star Wars Darth Maul, followed by a couple Batman issues, a Justice League of America, something called Super Sons, Walking Dead, an All Star Batman, another Star Wars book, another Justice League of America, Justice League. It seemed like there appears to be like several DC titles in there and then just a couple Marvel. Do you glean
Walking Dead's
anything
in
from
there.
this?
Not really. I mean, you could tell Darth Maul would be up there because it's a super popular character that people have a thirst for because he wasn't heavily featured, and people still want more Darth Maul, even though they brought him back for the Rebel series, then killed him off again, which was sort of lame, but we don't want to get into that. But um, Walking Dead's up there. That makes sense. Justice League of America. Maybe that bodes well for the movie. Maybe not. Star Wars number 28, which is the ongoing Star Wars comic series that Marvel is doing now, which ties into the Star Wars universe. I think they take place between the movies. I don't know. But nothing here really shocks me. I mean, all the stuff sort of seems like it belongs.
You know, for me, Bill, since I've stopped reading comic books, just looking at this, I find this to be so sad in a way
Because X
that,
Men's not on it, is that why?
well, yeah, that's exactly where I was going with. It seems like when I was reading these books, I can tell you right now that X-Men was always in like, there's not even an X-Men book in the top 20. I mean, this is February, obviously. I'm just taking a snapshot. But it's not even a book. Not one fucking book
Well,
in the
the only
top
Marvel
20.
books that are in here are Star Wars.
That just to be a fucking travesty. And this is why I've stopped reading, which is, the reason why I was collecting comic books that started me back off was because of X-Men. And I've told you long ago that the stories and the talent have fallen off to me so much why I cannot even convince myself to stay collecting them. And now that I'm looking at this whole list over at Diamonds, the first, let's just say, X-Men related book that I see for February is number 44, Old Man Logan. I just want to, it's fallen so far, but I guess it really doesn't make a difference because if they're making all the money over there at DC during their movies, who cares? I
Well,
just,
it's interesting, and this ties into something we'll probably discuss next about the comments that were made a couple weeks ago by the Marvel Comics president
yeah, the vice
about
president.
the lack of sales or enthusiasm for their current swath of books. But
Do you want me to read his quote?
yeah, that's fine.
Okay, it's a little bit long, and I apologize, but collect your thoughts. Vice President David Gabriel was blaming poor comic sales on diversity. I'm being a little bit inflammatory. His quote is, I don't know if that's a question for me. I think there's a better question for retailers who are seeing all publishers. What we heard was that people didn't want any more diversity. They didn't want female characters out there. That's what we heard. Whether we believe that or not, I don't know that's really true. But that's what we saw in sales. We saw the sales of any character that was diverse, any character that was new, our female characters, anything that was not a core Marvel character, people were turning their nose up against. That was difficult for us because we had a lot of fresh, new, exciting ideas that we were trying to get out, and nothing new really worked. It was the old things coming back in that time period. Three books in particular: Spider Man Renew Your Vows, that had Spider Man and Mary Jane married. That worked. The Venom book worked, and the Thanos book worked. You can take what you want out of who you might be enjoying those three books, but it is definitely a specific type of comic book reader, comic book collector that really liked those three series. That's what he wrote that seemed to get Marvel's PR department and the other brass members up, their panties up in a bunch because, of course, the story that was heard was we got poor sales because nobody likes the blacks and or the females.
Oh God. Okay.
I'm
And
sorry,
they
diversity
had a
includes
they
more.
had a response. Somebody responded to this.
Yes, after this hit, David Gabriel's, hit the web out there and the articles came out. The PR from Marvel department responded, quote, discussed candidly by some of the retailers at the summit, we heard that some were not happy with the false abandonment of the core Marvel heroes, and contrary to what some said about characters not working, the sticking factor and popularity for a majority of these new titles and characters like Squirrel Girl, Miss Marvel, The Mighty Thor, Spider-Gwen, Miles Morales, and Moon Girl continue to prove that our fans and retailers are excited about these heroes. And let me be clear, our new heroes are not going anywhere. We are proud and excited to keep introducing unique characters that reflect new voices and new experience into the Marvel Universe and pair them with our iconic heroes. We also have been hearing from stories that welcome and champion our new characters and titles and want more. They've invigorated our own customer base and helped them grow their stories because of it. So we're getting both sides of the story, and the only upcoming change we're making is to ensure we don't lose focus on our core heroes. Comments, thoughts?
I don't know. I don't know. It's a tricky
It,
subject.
there's a there's a lot in there, Bill, because part of it is there's not a lot of science on it. I know what you can sit there and say is we have a book and we made a change into it and we have a different character. And so therefore, if it's not making a lot of sales, then the assumption is, by the way, we don't like this quote character. She's a female, so we're not really interested in that. Or maybe we try a diverse character and go, we don't like that character and it has to be because of the color. I feel like that's just not a good way to judge a book, and I don't know how you come up with the data maybe to kind of like reach that conclusion, because there's a reason like I stopped reading books not because quote I don't like the fact that they changed a Thor to a female. There's lots of reasons why I could stop reading the book. It's because I don't like the story, I don't like the art, I don't like the writer, I don't like the direction. There could be a multitude of reasons that necessarily don't always result back in quote diversity issues. I think I think it's a broad stroke to say that. Now there might be some obviously a retailer that sits there and goes, "We're not interested in a female Thor." I don't know if the fact that one retailer or a few say that means that the only reason why that's not doing well is because of that reason. There's a lot of information that needs to be collected before you can make that determination, especially on something like that. I think the statement, as the vice president, he should have kind of said he could have cleaned that up a little bit better.
Well, it's certainly not good for their PR, but I mean, the thing about it is, I think personally, my opinion is that fanboys are a very um, finicky bunch and are not particularly enamored with change in any way. I think that the reason why they read these books is because it brings them back to their childhoods and it makes them feel like, you know, um, the good guys always win, and these characters that they've followed for decades and decades and decades are like, they're mythological heroes. They're sort of gods or whatever. And I think it is difficult when you take a property that has a history of like 40 or 50 years, and because maybe the marketplace is changing and because you feel like, and maybe people need to be included. And I'm not the biggest person on diversity myself, so, and it's not for diversity, it's sake. It's for me, it's because it feels like a trend and it feels like it's being shoved down my throat rather than happening organically, and rather than it's sparingly, so that you can get people used to the changes that you're coming about that are not necessarily bad in and of themselves. But the fact that it feels like there's an agenda, and it feels like that agenda is being pushed for political reasons, that turns me off. And I imagine that some of these people are feeling the same thing. If they're getting these feedbacks about these books being diverse and they're rejecting that, maybe there's something to it where it's like, well, maybe if you didn't shove it down my throat so hard, I might be able to get used to it a little bit better. I don't
Yeah,
know the reasons.
yeah, it's complicated. It's complicated. And being a comic book fan, I can see that because when I'm reading a story like, when I first heard about like Thor going female, if you will, I don't know enough about it, so I'm talking out of my ass. I'm just trying to use it as an example. Part of it is I find it to be gimmicky, and certain characters, I want to read them. Like when I read the X-Men books, I want to read about Cyclops, Iceman, Jean Grey, Wolverine, Storm. I want to read about them and I want to have new adventures. What I don't want is I don't want Cyclops to be going through some sort of like sex change, and then Storm, instead of being from Africa, is now from Russia. I don't care. That's not what I want to read. Now, if you want to do a separate what if book, that's fine. Well, I want to read an X-Men story, and I want you to have good writers that give me something fresh and new. And I think that's sort of the problem, is sometimes they're just taking these things, and a way to make them fresh is just to change their color and or gender. And I think that really turns people off. And I think sometimes you're better off just creating a separate storyline or a separate book. And I think that gets lost because you're taking a history that people have. Same thing they did with the Spider-Man Clone Wars. When all of a sudden they told you that Peter Parker was not Spider-Man and actually Spider-Man was Ben Riley, people were ready to burn down the buildings. Okay? Because they grew up thinking it was Peter Parker. And then they had to change that around. And it was just crazy. Like, you get vested in a character. It's like Misery. Don't fuck around with it. Don't fuck around with it. Do something different, separate. And if you're going to do something to the core, then it better be something that people see as temporary. I don't know.
I
I
think
don't
they're
know. It's
chasing.
a very emotional thing, and I'm not saying I'm not open to it. I'm clearly open to it. I just don't need it to be gimmicky.
Well, I think
And
the smart thing that they're doing is realizing that the characters that they're pushing, the Squirrel Girls, the Miss Marvels, the female Thor, the Spider Gwens, the Miles Morales, those characters cannot just come in and take over control of the roost. They need to be ushered in as part of the stories of the main core characters, and then after some time has gone on, then they can spin them off into their own sort of focused books. But to have them come in like one big giant rush and then take the spotlight off of the historically popular characters clearly isn't working. So now that they've sort of figured that they want them to sort of be a part of the universe, which is fine, have your seat at the table, absolutely, but do not usurp what we love about these books in the first place, then I think that might be the sweet spot that they're trying to look for. I understand what
I,
they're trying to
you
do.
you know what? It's amazing that, like, in terms of like the movies, maybe the comic books can take something from, like, with the Marvel movies. In terms of getting you used to a character, how they'll like make a small cameo in the film, and then it'll lead you into their spin-off movie, but they introduce you to it and, like, whatever, like Iron Man 3 or whatever else. You know what I mean? Like they'll
Right.
introduce that character as a little side piece, and you're like, oh, that's who's going to be playing them. You get a few minutes, a little bit of a flavor from them, and then it's like Black Panther. You get them there over there in Civil War. You get to see them a little bit, and then you spin them off into your movie. You kind of like let a dog sniff your hand a little bit before you just throw them out there and say, hey, this is the king of the walk.
Well,
They seem
no
to
one,
understand that with the movie.
and that's what I think is the danger in all of this diversity. Also, is that you feel like there's some other agenda other than making good quality stories involved here. I feel like with all of this diversity stuff, I feel like there's an agenda that exceeds what I'm expecting from my entertainment. That's all I want from my entertainment is good stories featuring characters that I've come to care about. And when it becomes something political or becomes something other than that, then it makes me sort of want to back off from it because I can feel like the puppet strings being pulled. And I don't want to feel manipulated by the marketplace, where I understand they're chasing dollars of a corner of a market that's shrinking. Everything becomes more diversified and people become more interested in different things, then they feel like there's there's money out there that they're not reaching. So they're trying to reach an audience that hey, they haven't tapped into yet by creating diverse these diverse characters, which is fine. But the risk in that if you push it too far too fast is in alienating your fan base that's come to expect one thing from you and suddenly they're getting something they're totally not used to having. So the answer is then to sort of integrate them, not have them take over in a rush of like trying to get to that money so fast, but just blend them in with the characters and then spin them off. And I think you'll find much more acceptance if you go that slower route than by trying to force feed these characters onto a market that's used to one thing being a certain way.
Okay.
I certainly feel like that would work more for me.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up here, Bill. We're done with the 3-minute blitzkrieg. We're
Okay,
now going to be
thank God.
heading towards the final lap, if you will. I like
Okay.
to get this show in under 2 hours. So I would like to do Le Cinema de Review over this man.
Granny lied. I'd rather be shiny like a treasure from a sunken pirate wreck. Scrub the deck and make it look shiny.
Yes,
Anybody who's
that's
probably
a
seen,
cool song.
what is that from, Bill?
That's from Moana.
Okay, well, I finally saw that movie. If I was giving a Netflix thumbs up or thumbs down, I'm giving it the fucking thumbs down.
Wow,
Okay.
really?
Yeah, I saw it. I didn't really care. I mean, I didn't even know the girl's name. So, I mean,
The name
there
of
was
the
no need.
movie is Moana. How do you not know the name of the movie?
That's how much I paid attention to it. That's
Okay.
how I care. I found I did like the Shiny song by the Crab. But for
Right.
all the other songs, when it was all something where the girl kind of dance around and kind of looks into the sky and looks into the water, I fast forwarded that because
Ugh,
I fast forwarded all through all of that, and I just got to the talking parts.
okay.
I just
Look,
is this
as I
is this
described to you when I first
is
saw
this
this
supposed to be
movie,
fresh? Is Moana, whatever else? Is this supposed to be fresh? Is this
well,
what we're getting?
they used a fresh talent off of Broadway for a lot of contributions to the music. That would be Lin Manuel Miranda, who did the Hamilton, the thing that everyone's like all agog about on Broadway right now. Um, I personally feel like you can't beat the classics, and some of these new up and comers like this Lin-Manuel Miranda guy just doesn't have the ear for songs that work as like multi-generational, multicultural songs. So some of the music, as in with Frozen, just didn't hit it for me the way the old school stuff does. And maybe that's just my old foginess coming through, but I felt like it was just lacking in a certain punch with some of the songs. Shiny's a better example of one of the songs that worked better for me than some of the other ones, but I'm not a fan of "You're Welcome." It just feels amateurish to me.
I did like that song, but generally speaking, I'm not a musical guy anyway, and
Right. Well, I am, but I mean,
I imagine if I was a child, I guess this would be kind of entertaining in that Disney vein. But as an adult, I just didn't really, you know,
I don't know. Maybe my time for Disney is over. Maybe the Renaissance was my thing, and now I have to step aside and let this new generation take over. I just like when I just recently saw Beauty and the Beast, the live action, after having seen Moana, I'm reminded of like what those songs that work for me sound like. And these songs in these newer films just don't have that panache. And I mean, the main theme from Moana, I can't even remember the name of the song now, but it's more along that Disney Renaissance vein with like Little Mermaid type songs, and Alan Menken, I believe, worked on some of that. So I prefer those. I prefer those like big Broadway showstopper sounding songs, and these songs that sort of sound a little bit more ethnic. I know this is not going to be popular, but it just lacks something for me. So.
I don't know why you always be hating on the ethnic people. That's some bullshit there.
Look, this is my show. It's our show. I feel like I can speak my
I'm
truth
not sure
on
what I've
this
done to
show,
offend you.
and
Wow.
I'm just speaking my truth. And I'm sorry if it offends people, but that's really how I felt about it. I felt like, again, I feel like an agenda is being pushed and not the entertainment value of it itself, and that
I
bothers
feel like
me.
it's a Freudian slip. You're just like, this is my show. That's what it is with you, right? Isn't it? It's exactly what it
It's
is.
when I speak, I feel like it's my show.
I'm just over here like a chimp pushing the buttons for you. That's all I am, huh? Button pushing.
No, what I meant by that really was that it's not other people's show besides you and me. It's our show, and if people don't like what I have to say about it, then that's their right to turn it off. But I'm not going to hide how I feel about it because I feel like people might be offended.
3 minute blitzkrieg has returned.
Oh boy, I missed it.
Bill, I've also saw Fantastic Beasts. We're not going to talk about this. We're just going to get into Box Office Mojo because we talked it ad nauseum. I'm a Harry Potter fan. I think the series, the Harry Potter film, started to kind of lose its luster for me as it came to the final end. And I understand that there's a cry for more Harry Potter stories, but this story of Newt was just, it really went nowhere for me. I mean, it's essentially a guy with a Noah's Ark full of animals coming to New York who just got caught up in an adventure. I
Is
don't
the
know if
Noah's
I'm
Ark the
really.
suitcase?
Yeah, I guess what I'm
Okay.
just saying is just he's really just a what's the word? He is a what are those guys? He's like a Greenpeace for magical creatures. He's just trying to save them and maybe create some sort of haven for them or give people knowledge about him. He gets caught up in some sort of magical hysteria in New York. That's really it. And I find that Eddie Redmayne's character, which is fucking boring as salt, as well as his quote love interest, is just as dry as all can be. But the secondary characters seem to be more of interest. It doesn't matter what I say. I think the people are desperate for Harry Potter and that they're going to try to keep this alive as long as they can. I just feel like this is really just a poor offshoot. But maybe it's going to take a couple more of these movies for people to realize that this is not the Harry Potter story they want. They should go a different route. But anyway,
Well,
that's my
as we
2
discussed the other day on the phone, I lost interest in Harry Potter after what was the first one called? Goblet of Fire.
cents.
So I'm not really the Harry Potter guy. So I didn't even see this. So
Bill is out. Bill, we're at box office receipts.
cool. It's the last thing
I
on our
mean,
schedule.
yeah, it is the last thing on our schedule. Do we want to say anything about our fan later from Superfan Nadia? It was so nice that she wrote us some stuff.
Sure, we can.
Let's do that real quick. I mean, she said a lot of good things in there. We talked about Dr. Horrible. She gave her 2 cents on some stuff. I know she's watching the Netflix shows. I find her comments to be uplifting and refreshing. It makes me want to continue doing the show. It's very positive. It's like along with Superfan Melissa. I mean, it's always good. You know, I guess when I ask for feedback, I guess it could be negative or not, but I do have to admit that the positivity does certainly like kind of keep me pumped up.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we certainly appreciate the feedback, and since she's the only one giving it, I don't think we can really pick it out and say,
wow.
you know, we don't
I
certainly
just can't
appreciate
like I
it.
have a
So,
whole bunch of letters I have to sift through. You just can't act like
right.
that, huh?
Yeah, no, that's not how it's actually working out for us. So,
This is for Superfan Nadia.
wow. She is apparently not a fan of Iron Fist, which I'm sad to hear because I am actually enjoying the show a lot at this point. Legion is the show I gave up on after the first episode, and I know that you watched it all the way through, but episode 7 apparently was her
Yeah,
favorite. Do you
yeah,
agree on
that
that?
pulled it together for her. And unfortunately, is that was probably the strongest episode, but it's really not enough to save it all for me. So, it's still a fumble. She's right about Iron Fist, but you're not going to hear that till you get to the end, which will probably be sometime in July, maybe
Wow.
early August.
I mean, like I said, I can only speak on what I've seen so far, and what I've seen so far has gotten me more interested in this world than Daredevil season 1 or season 2. So,
That's fair. I agree with you on that one.
so
Okay.
she asked if I attended the Beauty and the Beast sing along this weekend. I did not, and I guess that's that. But she did grow up on the same era of Disney that I did, which was The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and Lion King. So that's definitely cool. And I think that's just basically some highlights.
Okay. Well, keep it coming. And I speak for Bill, appreciate the feedback at all times. So, anyway, Bill, for the weekend of April 7th through to the 9th of 2017, the #1 movie, color me shocked, Boss Baby. Boss Baby.
That's just so
It made
tragic.
another 26 million, bringing its total for its second week up to $89 million.
That's just so ridiculous. I mean, I guess, whatever makes you laugh, but that trailer did not make me laugh. So,
I concur with you. I thought maybe that you might have some sort of Mars or for moms type of thing.
right.
But I guess animation. That seems like that's some good bread and butter. You throw it out there. Everybody's got families, got some childrens out there, except you gays and stuff, unless you're
Really?
adopted.
I mean,
But
here's the thing. Boss Baby, though, I mean, you have a franchise like How to Train Your Dragon, which actually has like some touchstones that would actually get me in to see it, which I enjoyed the first one, not enough to actually see the second one, which, sort of didn't do as well as they thought it would. But then you have something that looks just asinine, like Boss Baby, that makes shit tons of money. This just goes into the proof of my theory that the proof of the pudding is oftentimes it doesn't have anything to do with the quality of the movie itself. People just flock to what the fuck they flock to. And if they like what they see, they like what they see. It doesn't have anything to do with whether it's actually good. It's just whether it hits a cultural touchstone. Right. Effing greed.
Okay. The number 2 movie is one of your favorites. It's Beauty and the Beast. It's in
Yay.
its 4th week. It made another $25 million, bringing its domestic gross up to $432 million. It will probably hit 1 billion probably within the next 3 to 4 days, I would imagine.
I think it certainly deserves it, and I'm very happy to hear it.
$1 billion. Right now, somebody over at Disney is building themselves a new wing of their house right now. They're like, yeah.
Because they are going to get all the money. All the money!
You know, right now, these contracts have to be changing. Didn't you tell me that Emma Watson wanted like 0.01% of the returns or something?
Yeah, she doesn't ever have to work again a day in her life. That's good.
Yeah, these people, this is a smart way to go. I mean, put me in the Disney film. I just want a small percentage.
Let's just
Anyway.
hope Chris Evans asks for something that they're willing to give him to stay as Captain America, because I really would like him to stay.
Okay. I'd start high, and then I'm like, what are you willing to pay me? I'll take it. Anyway, the number 3 movie in its opening weekend was Smurfs: The Lost Village. It pulled in 14 million.
Ugh. There's another one whose trailer was complete garbage.
It's complete garbage, but obviously its production budget is 60 million and it brought in 14 million. Apparently, the Smurfs magic didn't really hit this week.
Well, here's the thing. These kids today don't know what the fuck a Smurf is. What the fuck's a Smurf? That shit happened in the 80s. That was 30 years ago. Yes, but that was 30 years ago. And then, you know, it's not like they're the Muppets where they sort of stay in the consciousness of the popular culture. I mean, if you didn't see those other 2 Smurfs movies that they came out with, then you wouldn't have any idea what a fucking Smurf was. It's not like they sell Smurfs in the stores anymore.
Yeah, okay. The original Smurfs movie brought in $563 million worldwide. That was starring your boy Neil Patrick Harris as the actor on a production budget of $110 million. So it brought in over $500 million. That was back in 2011. That got you Smurfs 2. Well, it kind of dropped a little bit. It brought in $347 million worldwide. I think the people are catching on by this time. That was also Neil Patrick Harris. And then we got this one, the Smurfs: The Lost Village, would be the third one.
Which they completely changed. I don't know if it's, you know, the same storyline, but now this one is all animated, and the first one was like combination animated live action, and the second one was combination animation live action. So I don't even know if this is a reboot of the Smurfverse or what.
You know what? That's actually, that's a great distinction you point out right there. Well, obviously, this complete animation didn't work out for it with 14 million.
I'm shocked.
They should have brought back Neil Patrick Harris. Fuck.
He is the patron saint of the gays.
Okay. The number 4 movie is something I've never heard of. Going in Style.
Oh, I've heard of it. That's the one with that woman whose face you said was melted. Goldie Hawn. Goldie Hawn.
She's in there? It seems like you got Alan Arkin, Michael Caine, Morgan Freeman.
Oh, no. This was the one that, isn't, yeah, you said Morgan Freeman? Yeah, this is about the old people.
Yeah, you're never too old to get even is the tagline.
Yeah. So they made a movie about octogenarian people getting revenge, and they're shocked that it made $2.
No, it costs $25 million. They're up to $12,500,000. They might be able to break even in a couple weeks.
Sure.
Yeah.
Not exactly setting the box office on fire, though, right?
No. And number 5, I've railed on this more than enough times with you off air, is Ghost in the Shell. It pulled in another 71 million. I mean, it pulled in another 7 million. in its second week of release, bringing its total up to 31 million domestically.
What's it doing foreign?
Foreign, it's doing 92 million foreign, bringing its total up to 124 million on a production budget of 110.
Well, obviously it's going to be a money loser, but
Yeah, there you go. I'll let them wring their hands on that one. I'd like to pull up the episode of the Popular Cinema podcast where I said this shit was going to be a fall for them.
yeah.
But it's fine. It's fine. Bill, we're going to start doing a segment where we call Pain Predicts. Obviously, these movies are getting made and I can't stop them, but
I mean, it's not going to do anything to bolster the confidence of the studios to make more female-centric movies. So it's not really a good thing for the diversity of people.
and that's, we're not going to waste our time with this. This is what I hate the most. That should not be the thinking, because I think it has nothing to do with the fact is that it was a female-centric thing. I think it was inaccessible for the people, because Lucy will do fine, Wonder Woman will do fine, and that's bullshit, because I feel like somehow like, oh, nobody wants this. That's not true. What they want is something that they can fucking watch and understand. And I can tell you right now, this shit didn't look like anything I could understand and or watch and look trite. And I hate for that to be the tagline for it. I hate that to be what actually you walk in, when you walk onto the carpet to sit there and go, I guess people don't want female. I believe that's not true. I believe it's absolutely false. You put them in the right vehicle, and the shit becomes a hit. It's not the right vehicle.
Well, hopefully Wonder Woman is. I certainly hope
Yes,
so.
because what happens when Wonder Woman comes out is it going to be like, oh no, they're ready for it? No, they've always been ready for it. It's the story. I think Ghost in the Shell, I think is like with anything else, they thought it was going to have some sort of Scott Pilgrim fanboy shit going on. And I don't think if that trailer would have had a hint of more Matrix in it, I think it could have been different. But you found it to be somewhat of interest.
I thought it looked fresh, exciting.
Yeah.
I thought it looked different.
I didn't feel that. I didn't feel that, and that's unfortunate. But
There's
anyway.
always the Blu-ray.
So, Bill, I'm not going to waste any fucking time because I would like to get this exactly in under 2 hours or exactly at 2 hours.
Okay. Well, we're pretty close.
Yeah, we're pretty close here. Did you enjoy yourself? Did you like the 3-minute blitzkrieg?
No, I'm not a fan of the 3-minute blitzkrieg with the reminders that it's a 3-minute blitzkrieg. The 3-minute blitzkrieg itself, I don't have a problem with.
You know what? I'm trying to advance the show. I'm trying to fly with eagles. I'm just hanging with turkeys. That's my lot of life. So what's on tap for you tonight?
I am going to go finish watching the Rogue One behind-the-scenes trailers and stuff like that. So, the extras on the Rogue One disc.
That's exciting. I'm just, I like to watch something, but this just really crap out. I could go rip Ben Affleck's Live by Night. I could watch Michael Fassbender's Assassin's Creed, but I'm just not excited about them. They're both 2-hour movies. I don't know if I would invest my time in something like that. I'm just not really feeling it.
Here's an idea. Watch something that you really like again.
You know what? I may do that, and that's sad. What does that say? What does that say?
I think it says you know what you like, and you enjoy watching what you like more than once. I don't think that's sad. I do it all the time.
Okay. What I like is that it was a good show. If I do say so myself, I enjoyed my time. A shout out once again to Superfan Melissa, Superfan Nadia, always being there support. Shout out to the people in the Hellmouth who are struggling. Shout out to my dogs that they stop pissing on my floor.
Wow.
Feel free to give us comments at popularcinemapodcast@gmail.com or call us on our number 802-35-PCP-35, or you can hit us up on Twitter at
Pop CinemaCast.
I'm your co-host, Payne.
I'm Bill, and next week is The Last Jedi trailer. What?
What? All right. Peace out, Bill.
Bye.